Hello, welcome back to JavaScript tutorial. This is Sharful. In this lecture, we're going to learn the control statements in JavaScript, and one of the control statement it's called conditional statement, which is ifelse. So we'll see the different use cases of ifelse syntax, and what is about ifelse, how the ifelse condition works. Okay. So what is control statement? So control statement is nothing, just to control the program flow. Like to other languages, in JavaScript have three control statement, as like a conditional statement, looping statement, and jumping statement. So control statement, it's just nothing, it's help you to control your programming flow as you wish, as per your certain condition. So it is three types, as you know: conditional, which is if-else; looping statement, we'll see the for loop, while loop, do while loop, all those different type of loops, it goes under the looping statement; and also jumping statement, right? When a certain condition is met, you can jump up from the loop. We'll see. So in this tutorial, we're going to learn about only the conditional statement. So in the conditional statement, we'll see it is all about if-else. So the conditional statement is a block of a statement for doing a specific job based on if-else condition. In JavaScript, we have following conditional statement: use if to specify a block of code to be executed if a specified condition is true. So it means, if we are going to use for a certain condition, and if it's met the condition or condition is true, it will execute some specific block of code. Okay, so as an example, we can say over here, if 1 greater than 0. So if this condition is true, we're saying this is the body of the if statement, like alert 1 is greater than 0. Okay, this is a very simple example of if statement, right? So use else. So there is a else keyword or reserve that goes with the also if. We can add with the also another piece of code under the else statement that goes with the if pair. So use else to specify a block of code to be executed if the condition is false. So when you use if, there is a condition and do certain job. If that condition is false, you can execute some other code. So this is the else is the alternate code for the if statement. Okay, so if the condition is false, you can ask to execute some other piece of code. So use else if to specify a new condition to test if the condition is false. So there's another part of if else. So after the if else, you can use there is another part of if else, which is like if, and then you can add one more else if, then finally you can add another else. Okay, so use else if to specify a new condition to test if the first condition is false. So let's see the first, our if else syntax. So if there will be condition, and if the condition is true, your compiler will get inside the if block, so block of code to be executed if the condition is true. And then else keyword, if the condition is false, your compiler will skip the block of this part and it will come to the else statement, and it will execute the code inside the else statement. Okay, example. So here is I have a variable my cell, var, and there is a use cells. There is a two variable assigned. One is my cell is 500 and use cell is like a salary is 1000. So if I'm saying if my cell is greater than use cell, so if this variable is greater than use cell, then I would say alert my salary is greater than your salary. Else, if the condition is false, else alert my salary is less than or equal to your salary. So since we have a two variable value, so we can easily understand my cell is less than your cell. So if statement will not true, so it will come, your compiler will jump to the else statement and will also pop up this alert and will say my salary is less than or equal to your salary. We'll see in a real life example. So let's see the other another example for else if statement. So we just our previous one we saw if else, and now this one is you can add if, then another condition else if, okay, and then else. Over here, here's the syntax: if similarly condition is true, execute this block of code. If the condition is false, you can add, this is a second condition, this is a second condition. So if this condition is false, it will go back to, it will jump to the else if. This is the second condition. Second condition, if the second condition is true, execute this piece of code. But neither one of your if condition is true, like first condition or else if condition, both are false, then it will jump to the else condition and will execute this code. Here is an example: if the time is less than 10, create a good morning greetings. If not, but the time is less than 20, this is second condition, create a good day greeting. Otherwise, a good evening greeting. So here is it has a two condition. So one is if it's less than, time is less than 10. Example, we said I declare a variable time, and as an say example right now I assign 11, so which is not less than 10, which is greater than 10. So here is my first condition: if time less than 10, then good morning greeting, I put in a variable, it's called greeting, and then I can console, I can print that greeting, so if this condition is true, it will print good morning, right? And second condition, else if, underneath with the else if, time less than 20, if it's less than 20, so time is 11, so this will meet the condition, and then over here I'm putting good day on greeting variables. It should print the good day. If the first condition and second condition both are false, then it will move to the else condition and it will get the greeting as a good evening, and you can print it too. So here we can see we use the first condition under the if, and there is a else if have a second condition, and neither one of the condition is true, it will move to the else condition. Okay, so let's go back to our code play to see the example one by one. First we'll see if statement, then we'll see if else, then we'll see if else if else. Okay, the first is if, right? So we're going to use very simple example. I'm just going to put the code here directly, so you can see I put if 1 greater than 0, then alert, that if the condition is true, then alert 1 is greater than 0. You can see there is an alert pop-up, it's showing over here, and it's saying 1 is greater than 0 over here because this condition is true. So we can easily put in a condition with the if statement, and then it can execute the code if the condition is true. So this is just simple if statement. Okay, close it, and then let's go to, we're going to use if else statement, right? So let's see, we're making a code here. Let me remove this guy, the first if, or you can put some okay. So here the second one, you can see over here, you can see we said there is my cell, it's 500 and your cell is 1000, and we're saying if my cell is greater than your cell, the alert this in a statement, else alert this is statement. So over here since my cell is less than your cell, right, my cell is 500 and your cell is 1000, so this condition is not true, right? So this part of code will not execute. It will, a compiler will move to the else condition, else statement, and it will execute this piece of code. So in our alert pop-up window, it should show my salary is less than or equal to your salary. So if you run it, you can see over here, right? My salary is less than or equal to your salary, because the condition was not true. It didn't meet the condition, right? That's the way if else works. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now we're going to see if, then else if, the second condition, then else, the final else statement. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's put everything common, and now let me get the piece of code, and then okay, here is a piece of code. So we declare a variable time, and I put it like 11. Okay, and now we're saying if time is less than 10, then puts a good morning, this greeting, to this variable, and then console, so print this variable, so value of the variable, which is a good morning, if this condition is true. This is the first condition, right? And then if this condition is not true, check the second condition under else if, right? I'm saying time less than 20, so my time is 11, so 11 less than 20, which is true, so it should get the greeting, which is a good day. It puts in a greeting and print on this on our console. Else if the condition number 1 is not true, also the condition number 2 is not true, then our compiler will look for else statement. So you have else statement, okay, and then we're saying good evening on our greeting variable, and print the value of the greeting in our console, right? So let's see what's the output. So you can see it's showing the output good day, because our time is 11, so 11 less than 10 is false. It will come to over here. 11 less than 20 is true, right? So it gets the good day on greeting, and it's printing the value of the greeting, right? So if we make say 20, let's see 21, what happened? So if it's a 21, this is false, condition true is also false, right? It didn't meet, and then it moves to the over here, by default, because first two condition was false, so it's missed over here in the else condition and else statement, and it's getting the good evening, right? So that's the way it's if, else if, and else works. If you want, you can add more else if. So after the if, then else if, there is another else if, and then finally the last statement would be your else statement. So you can add multiple else if in your if else statement. Okay, so those are the pretty much about the if else conditional statement that we can do in JavaScript. So points to remember: use if else condition statement to control the program flow. JavaScript includes 3 forms of if condition. If condition, then that's what we saw, if else condition, and also the final we saw else if condition, right? Else if condition. So first was if, then next was if else, then thirdly we saw the second condition, else if condition. The if condition must have conditional expression in bracket, right? So like we saw over here, the if statement your condition have to be must in this bracket, right? The following the single statement or code of block in the this is the code of block, right? This is the opening block and closing bracket, right? So you can write this way. So this is in the body of your if statement or if block, right? And else if, so else if over here, else if statement must be placed after if condition. So if you want to use another second or third condition, so else if can be placed after the if statement. So after this if statement, you can place your else if statement here, right? That's the way you can do it. Okay, and else condition must be placed only once at the end, and else will place at the very end. whether you use only if then else, or you use multiple condition like if then else if, but your else statement will place at the very end. Okay, so that's, it must be come at the very end of your statement, a whole conditional statement. Okay, so those are the the points to remember when you work on if else statement or conditional statement. I hope it's very simple, but it's very effective when you do the logic on your code. Thank you so much. If you like our tutorial, please share with others, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one.